Hello, everybody, and welcome to Quantum Leap Revisited, a show that we do once a week where we discuss all the latest in. Oh, I actually gave the wrong intro to the wrong stream. I guess I'm tired, bro. What I wanted to say is that this is a stream where we discuss once a week the classic series, Quantum Leap, that ran from 1989 to 1993, starring Scott Bakula and Dean Stockwell. And for those who don't know me, I'm Price of Reason. And with me, as always, is a very wonderful panel of gentlemen, which is Ro, who's actually I kind of see him as my co-host here, but I always say the panel of gentlemen. It sounds more sophisticated. In any case, Ro is the host of the Sacrif Podcast. And in addition to that, he also is the co-founder of the Red 5 Network, which is a network of podcasters. He's also a broadcast news veteran, and he brings knowledge when it comes to behind-the-scenes production and technical equipment and things like that. And we're always happy to have him here. How's it going, Ro?
It's going fantastic. I think we're all tired today.
Yeah, I don't know. It's been sort of an exhausting week, and I was juggling a bunch of different things between making videos and upsetting people. It's been a long day. I found out that on the internet, when you post your opinions and make videos about pop culture, sometimes people get annoyed.
Yeah, funny how that works.
Yeah, no, especially these days when tensions are high, anyways. In pop culture stuff. In any case, the one thing that's nice about Quantum Leap is that I feel like it's not high tensions. It's just a very, very great show that we're revisiting. And I'm always happy that we're doing this and that we have such a great audience hanging out with us. Always a pleasure as well. Hey, Julie, how's it going? I want to tell you, Julie, I know you left some comments on some videos this week. I was going to sit down and concentrate it because Julie, what she's been doing, she's been going, and I'm telling this to Ro and to all the other people here, she's going back to all of our streams.
That's fantastic.
And she's commenting on them. And I have to then go and I love commenting on her comments, but I have to go and kind of do this in an organized way. And I feel like I missed a few recently, so I'm going to revisit that. But I do love the fact that we're doing this. And it's sort of something that as we get closer to the end of this series, which we are pretty close, I am really happy that no matter what time or when, if somebody is looking for some kind of commentary and cool streams when it comes to Quantum Leap, I think that ours are pretty decent. And we give people that option, and I'm really proud of that. So happy to hang out with you all. Nick is stuck at work. That's why you see that here in the comments. Stuck working, doing billing on one job, will hopefully on briefly for my next job. I think he meant that between the two jobs, he'll try to hop on, and we'll obviously be happy to see him for however much time that he has, if he has it. In any case, today we have the episode The Beast Within, which is Season 5, Episode 19, really getting close to that end of series there. So we've had some strange... Sorry, go on.
No, that's crazy. We've been at it for how many years?
I think that we're getting close to 2 years.
That's crazy. Yeah.
It's hard to believe. Backyard Tardis. Let's talk Quantum Leap. Classic Quantum Leap. This episode was great. $2. Okay. And then Kit Kat says, Price, your Quantum Leap streams are really some of the best. Well, can't take credit for that alone. I do those streams with Ro and with Nick, and for a long time it was with Sean. He is working, and Script has some late shifts these days too, but they've all done so much over the past 2 years, and they're always even if they're not here for that moment, they're always a part of this, at least in my mind. Yeah, so it's crazy that we've been hanging out for a few years, but like I said, once we're done with the actual episodes, we will give a number of streams like this one where we maybe kind of recap the seasons and try to rank some of the better episodes and try at least to prepare some kind of list of what we consider at least the top episodes, just so because we're always talking about it, so it'll be nice to really sit and go over it and sort of reminisce about all the cool things that we saw. And yeah, so it's the Beast Within. I guess before we start diving into this, Ro, you don't have to give all your thoughts, but just generally, what did you think of this episode?
You know, this season or this season has really been kind of a checkered list of strange episodes that I think took some chances and didn't really pay off. But I think they're kind of going back to just telling a good story without a lot of um, uh, risky gimmicks. With this episode, I liked it. I enjoyed it. I think it was simple, easy to follow, and they didn't waste time just kind of telling the story of the characters in this one. And a nice little kind of mysterious twist at the end, which kind of gave it a little bit of an edge. I know somebody in the comments said that they didn't like the ending too much. We'll get there towards the end of the show, but I really enjoyed this episode. It was really good.
Yeah, yeah,
I guess it was text.
Tex Rogers. It was good except for the annoying ending. Anyhow, Julie Evans says, I'm enjoying revisiting these Quantum Leap episodes and watching some of these episodes for the first time. That's great. I also, well, I'll save that for the end, but there's something that I observe these days that kind of annoyed me, but it didn't have to do with this specific series, so I'll explain myself later. But it is Quantum Leap related. And then Ron Donofero says, fully agree, Ro, this episode felt more like good old Quantum Leap. I agree. Especially the moment that I felt that way was one of the final scenes there that we'll get to, where there's sort of a heart to heart moment, and I felt like that felt a little bit like the show in its prime, like that there's a story here. That on one hand they're doing this thing that's happening now, but there's also the Vietnam story. I thought that was pretty well done, and it brought kind of more personal emotions and stories, and that's something that this season from all with all their weird gimmicks with celebrities and kind of rushing to try strange ideas, they sometimes lost sight of that. Not in all of them. I can show
Right.
you if I was pushed to show, let's say, 5 episodes this season that maybe deliver that kind of feeling, maybe I could find them, but I wouldn't say that there's like 20 of them. You know what I mean? Like we can kind of conjure up a few of them, but it's not consistent.
Right.
Uh, there were stories like that when he was in a wheelchair.
Mm-hmm.
There was the one maybe he was on an island with Brooke Shields. There were a few that had a little more personal stories,
Sure.
but along the way, there were a lot of misses. There's really no way around that.
Mm-hmm.
In any case, I guess let's try to hop into this episode and see. And hopefully your memory is better. I watched this again. I was tired. I put it on kind of in the background. I've seen it before, but I haven't watched it. It's strange because it's an episode that I haven't watched many times. I suppose that maybe this is this week was maybe my third time ever watching it. I think
Mm-hmm.
I watched it once when I was young. Then later, at some point, years later, I watched it once, and then I watched it now. So there's episodes that are more memorable that I know exactly, like I've seen them a number of times and I know them very well. This one, I kind of remember the general idea, but even now, like I said, I was kind of tired and I put it on. So, Ro, you're gonna be like the, I don't know what word am I, like the anchor.
Yeah, and sometimes I'm like you. I kind of have it in the background while I'm doing stuff, but then I realize that sometimes some story element might pass me by if I'm getting distracted. So I really wanted to pay attention to this one. Let's see how much that worked.
I have faith in you, Ro. If there's one man, and I know I have to embiggen it. If there's one man that watched this thing and knows what's going on, it's you.
All
So
right.
I'll mute it, and then we'll be the leap home. And then there's like this thing, and he's there near the window,
Mm-hmm.
and then kid thinks it's a Bigfoot, and it's like, oh
And
boy.
it's funny, for a while I thought that he did leap into like a creature, like a Bigfoot, almost like the chimpanzee episode.
Right. It almost gives that feeling for a second.
Yeah, yeah,
But because you could see his face, it would have been strange if that's like a
sure.
chimpanzee situation.
Yeah.
Although, with a chimp, he just looked like himself in underwear, so anything's possible. The Beast
Mhm.
Within, November 6th, 1972. And also, well, there was something about whoever wrote it and directed it. Where is that? Where's the part that it said? Okay. Why don't I see the?
Here it's coming. It's coming. Usually the director's the last credit.
That's what I thought, but I suddenly
Yeah.
don't see it. Oh, here it is.
There you go. Guy
So they
Tompkins
kind of
or
Guy
Triconis.
Triconis, Gus Triconis. I don't remember seeing this name before.
No, neither do I.
And then there's also written by John DeCino. Also, don't remember that. You know what? Whoever these two people are, they did a decent job. I feel like they could have been given a few more episodes this season because some of them were more miss than hit.
Tex Rogers has some tidbits about the writer.
Yes, it's John DeCino. Is there
No, hold on a
additional?
second. Let's see. Yeah, there's a earlier he was oh, here it is. It was written by the guy who plays Jimmy's brother Frank, and he was also on Sequest.
Ah, right. That's right. That is right. I am surprised. I guess maybe he made an impression on them. You know what? They should
Yeah,
have given him more leeway.
right.
That's interesting. I didn't make that connection. Thank you,
Mm-hmm.
Tex. That's
Yeah.
that's what Tex is good at doing. Anyhow, so Sam runs out. He's in the woods or whatever it is.
And obviously, since this other character kind of grabbed him by the hand and put him down, that's when I realized, oh, okay, he's not Bigfoot. He's just a guy in a fur coat.
Right, because he's not like doing like ooh ha ha ha. Like he's not doing like some weird chimp noises.
Right.
He's a regular guy, and he knows that Sam's a regular guy. So, yeah.
And somewhere in the half of this presentation, we're going to have to acknowledge the chat because they're already upset that there's no real change.
They all hated the real change. Finally, it's all coming together, and they're not happy anymore. It'll be okay. In any case, at this point, the kid's like, I know I saw Bigfoot. I know it. And she's like, well, you didn't have your glasses on. Maybe you didn't see him. And then he's like, I know who it is. It's Roy and Henry. Hey, let me see what I can do in town. Then something like that, right?
Something like that, yeah. And then they
I
go
was
back to
close enough.
their forest hideout.
Yeah, because they're living kind of off the grid.
Right.
And then remind me, I guess Al shows up and he's like, Sam,
Mm-hmm.
you two were in Vietnam, and soon he's gonna die, and so is that kid, or something like that.
Something like that, yeah. There was, I don't know if it was this scene. There was one time when they did the Al effect where he leaves and Sam turns around and watches him leave. You don't see Al leave, but it would have been good if off camera, because they did it off camera. It would have been good if off camera they shined a light on Sam while they did the special effects. But they didn't do that, and I was expecting kind of like a light, because obviously when he opens the portal door, there's there it was. It was in that scene. So they're talking, and then all of a sudden, see, he turns and he looks at him leaving. You hear the sound effect, but there's no light. It would have been nice to see a
Totally.
light
I feel like
off
this
camera.
They weren't thinking three-dimensionally here. I think that they
Yeah.
just kind of were getting through the night shoot, it's a shame because you're right. If they would have thought about it and put something there, it would have been cool.
Yeah. But
Hold on
obviously,
1 second. Tell a joke.
that doesn't ruin the episode for us. Price is making some adjustments, but we'll make sure to see if we can stop in the middle of the file and see what the chat is running on. Because I know you guys usually have your own show in the chat, which we like to kind of pop in and see what's going on. Hopefully, the rest of the crew will join us as we kind of round out the final episodes of this series here. And we don't know what we're going to do at the end. It might be kind of like a best of per season, a little discussion like that, but who knows? We might put it up to a vote.
Well, I'm back, and probably my mic is too loud or something. That happens sometimes when I come back.
A little bit, but it's not bad.
And I had a phone call, and I also lost subscribers. But that's a whole another story. Today has been a crazy day. In any case, what was I going to say? So they're here, and I guess Sam. Remind me here what's going on. Isn't Sam trying to go talk to the guy so that
I'm not sure if he mentions that he's going to talk to him because he does obviously show up in the sheriff's office later. But we're starting to get to know the characters and see what the relationship is between these guys. And I guess they're gearing up to go look for them in the forest. And this guy is, packing some extra ammunition or something like that.
Right. And then this guy along the way, he kind of looks like I don't know if to say a hard ass or what to say. Like, he's not cooperating. These people served with him. You'd think he'd be a little more compassionate, a little nicer, but he just comes off as a douche every time you see him.
Right.
And then
and yes, Tex, it is a little dark, but
and then he's looking at the photos, the Nam photos with his friends.
Yeah, this is where we get a little backstory of who these guys are, and
they're all like old friends, and they all serve together and all that stuff.
The flashback was pretty, like, when we get to know what happened to one of them. I mean, it was pretty dramatic.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty for the $5 budget that this show has. I thought it was pretty well done.
Yeah,
I'm not saying $5, but you know what I mean. Like,
totally,
they don't have like a huge budget for these things.
Yeah.
I'm sure. And during those days, like they didn't have a lot of options. Even doing something like this was probably considered, some extra work on their end. So you have this situation that they're here, and
well, one of them, let's see, go back a little bit, because they wanted to, they're saying that they need to leave this area, but they need to clear it. And I heard them say clear it in quotes, because they supposed to not leave anybody alive or whatever. And they realize that there's just one old guy in the hut, and one of the soldiers wants to leave, and the other one goes, well, we can't leave, we have to clear it. That's where our orders were, to clear it, and then we can leave. And the one guy's like, I can't kill the old guy. He goes, if you want to do it, you can do it. And he goes in to the hut and says, fine. And that's when the hut blows up.
Yeah, exactly. And that becomes important later too.
Yeah.
And now they're back here, and I think does he have an epilepsy thing now, or is that later?
That's a little later, but it's coming.
A little later.
Yeah.
What does they say? Sam, you gotta get him his pills.
Right. We're trying to find out what kind of pills is
oh, and then Sam's like, I'm gonna be able to treat him with things that we have here in nature.
Yes.
I was like, Sam, we gotta get them pills. And then I guess The mother's.
Yeah, this is where we learn obviously that this kid is not his son, because they have a little argument.
Yes, Amelia Bedelia. It looks
Yeah,
like Luke refused to kill a civilian. That's what it
correct.
seems. Sam! Hey, Matthew and Chrissy. Uh, I hope everybody's okay. I hope Lisa Katryan and Tracy Alexander are okay.
And Mary White, we haven't seen her in a while.
Mary White, I sent her a message, and she said that she was okay. She's just kind of doing stuff, I guess, off the grid. I don't even know what I'm looking to say, but she hasn't been online as much, but she did confirm that she's doing okay. So
Good.
At least that I know. Lisa Katrine, for all we know, she could be cycling somewhere. Tracy Alexander, who knows?
Living life, touching grass.
That's what all the people tell me to do when they respond to my videos. They all want me to touch grass. In any case, this is the part where he's talking to the kid, and the kid's like, "You're not even my father."
Right. And he storms off.
He's like, "He'll never look at me like I'm his father. And every time I see him, I see John. I see his face." And then Sam's here, and they're doing the whole. Remind me, what does she tell him here about his father? I don't remember this. Your father was a great man. I'll see you later.
Oh, and then I think didn't he say, then why did you marry Luke, or why did you marry this guy?
Something like, so what did she say? I'm trying to remember the answer.
Yeah, he goes, do you still love it? The kid asks her, do you still love Dad? And she says, of course I do. There's a tragic loss, and he came to comfort me.
That's always the case. There's always the good friend that comes to comfort.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be a douche or anything. That's a terrible thing that I just said, but you know what I mean.
Well, in this
Always
case.
in the movies, like the guy.
Right.
I know this has happened in real life too, that there were. Okay, I'll explain it, just so I don't seem like a complete douche, which I probably am. But I'll explain it this way. From what I understand, especially back in the day, if a woman was married and let's say her husband went to war and died in the war, it was a big deal. Think years earlier. This isn't like today where, well, woman, she's divorced, she's married, she's divorced. Like, the society is very different. If you think of stuff like in the 50s or things like that, that was a big deal. So the woman then having no husband, that would put her in a very difficult spot. A lot of times there were soldiers that felt like a responsibility to, stuff like this would happen, but it would almost be like also, I don't know, it's a strange thing to say, but like a sense of duty. I've read, at least in books of the time, things where like a brother that dies, and then the other brother, he steps in and marries the lady, things like that.
Right.
Well,
Amelia said it perfectly. Trauma bonded.
Trauma bonding for sure. Also, the Dead Man, $4.99 super chat. Thank you, the Dead Man, with a new avatar that he's had recently. I'm still trying to figure out is a few bears. He says, it always amazes me that we've learned nothing from Vietnam, Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria, Iran. Yeah, we don't learn much of everything, I guess.
Alderaan.
Rhonda Nefera says, I hear your Price of Reason live, but I still think it's odd. You know where I really understood the idea of that? In the play All My Sons by Arthur Miller, who was married to Marilyn Monroe, who last week we had an episode about her. So anyhow, Arthur Miller, he wrote that play. It's kind of a very famous play, American play. And there's a situation there that it's also, there's a family like this with a lot of secrets, but there's one guy who, when the brother never came back to marry his love or whatever it is, or he was with her and he died, whatever it is, the brother decided that he had to step in and he had to marry her. And again, seems weird to us, but during those days, it wasn't seen the same way. It was, yes, part of it was trauma bonding, but at the same time, it was also, it was as if you're doing like something good in society by doing something like this. Like it was it wasn't frowned upon. On the contrary, do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This was like considered like you're a serious
Like
person that's
like your
looking
duty.
after people.
Yeah.
I remember as a kid, even when I read that play, I'm like, I thought it was kind of weird.
Oh, you got a fire?
I have to see what's going on. Tell some jokes.
Well, Price of Reason's hut is on fire. Hopefully not. But let's get, we have a surprise guest. I guess, Nick, you can join us. And while Price is checking on his smoke alarm, hopefully everything will be fine.
Okay. Yeah, I can only stay for about 10, maybe 15 minutes, but I got another job I got to get to. But I wanted to point out just in what you guys were talking about right there. Yeah, the discussion, the kid's trying to understand. He's having a hard time with this guy. He's like, and the whole thing with Bigfoot is that this is something that his dad believed in. So his dad was somebody who had a Bigfoot story. They had that experience together. So that's why it's so precious for him. And they're telling him, you just need to grow up. You need to kind of give this stuff up. But for him, it's very precious because it's a link to his dad who's died. And then that's with all that, with how much his stepdad reacted to it, is why he's so, bent, like, asking, don't you still love dad?
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, yeah, just because he died, that doesn't go away. And then he says, well, then why did you marry him? And she actually, it's interesting. She actually talks about how, we were both hurting him in some ways more than me, which was an interesting statement for somebody who lost their husband, and father of their kid to say, but like to recognize, like it mentally messed him up.
Sure.
And we see all three of these characters are mentally messed up. The two are out there, in the middle of nowhere, maybe because they feel so messed up that they don't feel comfortable in society anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's interesting, but it's a good way that they work at it. And just in case I'm not on later, the ending of the episode that I know you guys are gonna probably go into, if you look at it, they don't really show the face. So
What
it could be the face.
I have an important question before we go on, and I know this is not
Okay.
Quantum Leap related. If suddenly the smoke alarm goes off and there's no smoke and I don't see anything, and then it stops on its own, could it be that the battery is about to die and it gave me a warning?
Well, some houses have internal smoke detectors on there, so it could just be its internal yearly test. If it doesn't have a battery, because I have one in the kitchen that doesn't have a battery, but once a year it goes off and it scares the crap out of us, and there's no smoke. It's its own like diagnostic sort of thing, and it goes off and then it goes away after a while. But it doesn't have a battery. It's part of the house's electricity.
Mine has a battery, though. Mine has a battery. Sorry, this is a stupid thing. I don't know why I'm bringing up, but mine actually has a battery.
One thing, is it just smoke detector, or is it smoke detector and carbon monoxide?
Good question.
It's this round thing that you put on your ceiling and it makes a beepy noise. I think that's the best I can give you.
So if it's carbon monoxide, that can be like if you have a gas leak, you wouldn't see smoke, but that would go off for that.
Right. Why would it go off for like 10 seconds and then stop and not make the noise anymore?
Well, if you're
that
still
could be a chemical.
Yeah, if you're still around in like half an hour, then we know that it's good. If not, if we hear a thud, then you might want to.
Well, let's continue to stream then. Let's just continue this thing. First of all, nice to see you, Nick. How much time do we have with you?
Just a few minutes. So I was just talking about the scene where you were at, and then kind of just because I wanted to cover it before I have to leave. The end scene, that's probably what would be the most controversy in this, they make a point of not really bringing the face into focus. So it could be somebody in the same kind of getup that Sam was in at the beginning of the episode.
Like
And
who?
just a random hiker.
I almost thought you were going to say that it was his dad, and he's been around all this time just to kind of just protecting them or watching them, or like guardian angel sort of thing.
I think that would be a little even bigger leap than Bigfoot, but
Yeah.
Because he seemed pretty exploded. But it reminded me, they did a similar like Bigfoot themed episode of MacGyver, where through the whole episode, it's this guy is trying to scare people off because he's out there doing something illegal, very Scooby-Doo like. They solve the whole thing. It's not Bigfoot. Bigfoot's not real. And the ending scene is they're all standing there, and then they hear a Bigfoot roar. And they've taken apart all the machines that make the Bigfoot roars, and they're like,
Yeah.
and they look at each other, and it goes to
Sure.
credit.
Yeah.
And I felt this had very the same energy. Like, that looks like Bigfoot, but we've already seen the show that you can look like Bigfoot and not be Bigfoot.
Yeah. But Matthew McGee says he's got a good point. He says, let me put it up on screen. I don't think so, because whoever it was literally picked up the car and put it back on the trail so they can drive off. A man wouldn't be able to do that. So, yeah, I mean, it's a good point.
That's true. The dead man says Price doesn't know how smoke detectors work. You're right. I don't know. I assume that there's smoke and there's like a sensor and they detect it and then they make a noise.
It might be
Well,
time to
and
replace it.
Yeah, and because they detect particles in the air, so you could have just had some dust blow into it.
Did you pass
Set it
gas
off
or
for a
something?
second.
I wasn't even in the same room as it.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
heard it off in the distance. Just test the batteries. Change the batteries.
All right. I'm going to take this project very seriously. Anyhow, back to this thing. So she explains to him that the father and now she's with him, and what's she saying to him here? That he should be compassionate toward that guy or whatever. I don't remember.
Yeah. He should be compassionate, and he's like, "No, I'm enforcing the law. He stole some chickens," and she's like, "It's not a big deal."
Right. He's like, I gotta
Yeah.
enforce the law. Hey, it was just a few chickens. And then
And this is real interesting, like, because the way it makes it seem is like he didn't follow orders and regulation and do things like he was supposed to, and that led to his friend who was willing to do that death. So it almost seems like
He's overcompensating.
he's being
Extra.
asinine about it. He's like, it's stolen chickens, and he's like, well, if he dies of seizures, he shouldn't have stolen chickens. It's like the extreme lack of anything that now he's like, if it's a rule, it's a rule, and I've got to uphold the rule because I'm the sheriff and that's my job.
Right. And one thing you said earlier, Nick, that I didn't catch, which I think goes in deep with this, not the symbolism, but I like that you mentioned that the Bigfoot was kind of a shared memory from the dad and stuff like that, and that's
Yeah.
what connects them. And I never really thought of that. I think that's a good kind of connection, which is important to the characters, especially because the stepdad is telling the kid, no, you didn't have your glasses, you don't know what you're talking about, and it estranges them even more.
Yeah, and because he mentions the time he saw it, he was with his dad, and his dad saw it too, and that's what he's like when the kid's trying to reason with them about not being sent home. He's also saying, don't we have to prove it? It's the only way, I can prove it. My dad believed in it, and I got to prove it.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah. Super Mario Brothers 3 says, Price of Reason live promo aired following episode. Sam and Al explained Quantum Leap will return to NBC schedule March 30th, 1993. Notice both are on set for Mirror Image 2 months before the finale. Did not realize that. But thank you for letting us know that. And sorry I covered your face, Nick. That wasn't nice of me. I didn't realize I did that. I probably do that all the time. In any case, here he's having a seizure. And Sam, what does he do to help him with this? Or
Oh, he puts the wooden spoon in his mouth so he doesn't swallow his tongue while he's convulsing.
right. And then I think at this point he just tells him,
Well, he's telling him he needs to calm down because part of this is being caused on by him getting very
Agitated, excited, yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, I see what you're saying. And then
the kid shows up.
The boy makes friends with him or something, right?
Yeah, later on they make friends, but he pulls out his
when they leave the boy alone with him, I felt like Sam should have pulled the boy aside and gave him some info on it, because like the first thing the boy does is like they're alone and he's like, how did my dad die? Well, that's like all sorts of things he shouldn't be asking him if he's trying to keep him calm while he doesn't have his medication.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is kind of strange that they leave him there, but then he goes and he's like, I'm gonna go talk to the sheriff, Al, and I'll to Luke, and I'll make sure that he helps us. And then
what's funny? This is the one thing when the mom comes in and she, according to text, she was Martha Wayne in Batman Forever.
She was?
Yeah. When the mom comes in screaming, "Oh my God, he's gone, he's gone. I went into his room and he wasn't there." And then the dad goes, Who are you talking about? And I'm like, to figure that out.
Right. You're supposed to be a sheriff, like you don't know.
He said, she says, I went into his room and couldn't find him. He wasn't there. Who else has a room in their house?
That is true, but still, still interesting.
Well, I think and they're also kind of showing that he's a little out of sorts. He's all of these memories and different things, like even though he's playing stoic, I think he's, they show a few times like he's having flashbacks. So I think his mental headspace is not right through all this too. He's just the one that appears to society that he's functioning. The other two they're the oddballs living out in the thing, and he's just as messed up as them.
Yeah.
So he at the end of he is also a bit of a mess because this is also weighing on him what happened and that he feels responsible for John's death. That also ties in with what I was saying about the Arthur Miller and the kind of responsibility thing. She was a widow with a kid, and he felt that he is responsibility. It's trauma bonding. I accept that term, but there's also that additional responsibility element. And here, if he feels that he was responsible for the guy's death, that makes it even more of a duty for him.
Yeah.
And at this point, he's trying to kind of speak to him in a way that he understands, but instead of saying like, he's like, "You're under arrest." Like he's not trying to be nice to him or anything. And then they're here together, but somehow the boy falls. What happens?
Oh, that's later. What's funny? This kid seemed in this episode alone, this kid seemed to get older. He seemed like a different person.
Like a different kid? You think they replaced the
actor? I think he looked really young in the pajamas that they put him in earlier.
Yeah, I guess. But then I guess
go ahead.
I was gonna say, he finally gets arrested after he appears at the sheriff's office. He wanted to talk with the sheriff, and the other deputy guy came in, and you can hear the behind him, and
Yeah.
then he goes, "Well, you're under arrest." Puts him in the slammer.
And so just because I'm going to have to duck back out, I wanted to share a couple of thoughts.
Yeah, for sure.
One of the things I actually thought was going to happen, because right before he says, "Can I take your picture?" they're showing flashbacks of the explosion. I thought he was going to take the picture and the flash was going to trigger seizures and then he was going to knock him over.
That would have been perfect.
But instead, it's that he reaches for the camera and the camera falls.
The camera falls.
And he goes after the camera, and that's what leads him to fall. And then, given how strict this guy has been, there is a moment when he shows up to arrest them, and they got to save the kid and stuff, but he sees her there. She broke him out of prison. Like, he's almost in a headspace where I was expecting him to say that she was under arrest too for a moment there, because of just how he had been over that since she released him out of the jail. But overall, before I duck out, I'm sorry I'm having to miss so much of this, because this is a great episode. It's nothing like super commentary, although it does show the effects of war, and really showing some of that leeway to vets, that just because maybe they have effects from that does not make them bad people or necessarily dangerous people. And the sad thing is they need help, and oftentimes that help is getting neglected. Like, he needs this medication, he's not receiving it, and because people aren't checking in on them, sometimes that can go by the side. Like, this doctor changed, but nobody else knew about it. Now he's not getting his medication, and so that it is a sad thing that we see. I thought the episode was really good, and I believe that they left just enough doubt at the end, whether it was Bigfoot or not, that it made it okay. Kind of like the episode. Well, I was going to say the alien abduction episode,
Yeah.
but they don't jump the shark to the point like that. That guy didn't get to see the inside of the spaceship, So, anyways, enjoy the stream. I got to head off to my next job. Thank you both.
All right, Nick. We'll see you.
All
Thanks
right.
for stopping
Thanks
by.
for stopping by, man.
Yeah.
And Nick has a good point, because I thought he was going to, what's the character's name? This guy here. The guy that had the seizures. Was that
Roy? Was his name Roy?
Roy. Yeah. I thought he was going to turn out to be kind of like a creepy, not necessarily bad guy, but just kind of like off kilter, especially when they left him alone with the kid. I thought he was gonna, I don't know, try something weird. And it turned out, like Nick said, I mean, it just turned out like he was having a hard time as a vet, and he turned into kind of a more of a sympathetic character, and less creepy than I thought.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you, and I guess let's just see how this plays out. They leave him with a kid, and remind me, how does the kid fall again?
He reaches for the camera as it's falling, because Roy kind of bumped it off the rock, and he reaches for it and falls into the, that rock crevice, whatever. The special effects that they did for Al kind of phasing into the rock to check on the kid was super goofy. It was almost, I don't know how they did their special effects back then, but when a special effects is coming, the resolution gets so out of whack.
Right. Where were you? Did you see this?
Right.
Oh, wait.
Right. It's coming. Yeah. Right. No, right after this, he pops up. There's a wide shot. There's they tell him that the kid's in the rocks, whatever. So Al, there
Oh yeah.
it gets so weird.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, this is not their best work.
Yeah,
I mean, listen, this is like, what is it? Early 90s, what can you do? This is the best they could do.
sure.
And
I
at
know.
this point they were also kind of in a hurry,
Mm-hmm.
When I saw it as a kid, it didn't even bother me. You know what I mean? Today we want to
Sure.
see much better effects, so this looks like a ridiculous to us. But when I was a kid, I wasn't thinking, "Oh, like this is the worst effect." I was just I would buy into whatever they're selling me.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that people don't understand. I'll just say this: I once took a class in, I studied film, but I'm saying I took a class in like film history or something like that, classic film history. And professor came and he showed us on a big screen because you have classrooms with a screen. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So he showed us. He's like, he showed us a little clip, and I think it was a clip of something with like aliens or whatever, flying saucers, whatever it was. It looked like such a joke. Like if you and I were going to do a parody now, we could probably take our phone and do something 100 times better than what that was. It looks like a complete joke, and I think that when he showed it, people in the classroom slash theater were laughing, and I was laughing too. And then it ended, and he said, "You're all laughing at this now, right?" And we're all like, "Yeah." He's like, "When this came out, this was the best thing that people ever saw.
Wow.
It was as if they're watching like Star Wars. You know what I mean?
Mm,
This is the best thing that ever happened to them. And
yeah.
when you look at it, it looks ridiculous. So
Sure.
I guess it's not as extreme when you look at this. But I'm saying when I was a kid, he's flying around, he's floating. There's a lot of goodwill. There was a lot of goodwill when we were young. We accepted that they're doing a special effect, and we bought into it for the most part.
Sure. Yeah.
Now it's dated though. Now we look at it and we're like, come on, like we could tell, like you said, we could see it from a mile away. The
Right.
resolution becomes weird. I don't know,
Yeah.
it's strange.
Mm-hmm.
But listen, I prefer the writing on some of these old shows and to accept the kind of wonky effects than that
Yeah.
we have,
Give it a pass for sure. Yeah.
because today we have the opposite. We have like the best of everything, except they
Right.
don't know how to write a screenplay.
Yeah. Totally.
It's sad because, and the final thing I'll say is, I think back in the day, knowing that they couldn't rely on everything in post production and digital editing and removing and everything. You had to be a lot more careful. You had to plan things because things were expensive. You had to plan them out.
Yeah.
So you couldn't half-ass anything. You need to. It's also not like those kind of MCU movies that they're like, oh, let's film it over and over and over again. Oh, we'll overdub it. We'll do ADR and post whatever. It didn't work that way then. I mean, I'm not sure. I'm not saying they never did ADR, but for the most part, if they filmed something, they had a plan. They storyboarded. They had some plans. They knew what they were going to do. It wasn't just some thing that they planned to do 90% of the work later. And you know what? We were better off for it from a storytelling perspective.
Yeah, for sure.
That was my rant. So this is the part where the guy shows up and he's like with his gun, and what does he even want to do here? Is he trying to arrest? Like, I mean,
Yeah, I think he's trying to arrest Luke again, but the mom is like, "Put your gun down." Our son, the kid is trapped in the rock. We got to get him. And he's like,
But this is the part that's a bit touching because she's like he's trying to explain to her. He's like, it was my fault that John died. And then she said something like, why? Because you wouldn't kill an old man? And then he's like,
yeah, he didn't know that she knew.
I wanted to ask you though, how would she know? I mean, there's only who told her.
Well, I'm sure, I don't know, maybe I would assume that there were reports submitted to the family of how he passed, some details in there. I don't know. People talk.
I guess so. It would have been nice to know how she got the information,
Yeah.
but I did feel like that was a rather touching moment. She's like, you knew?
There was a line, and I know you have the script somewhere. it's hard to follow that script.
But
But
she said, I said I do, didn't I?
yeah, that was a really great line, but I forgot what the line was before that made her say that.
Didn't I? What? No, he's like, you knew? I said I did, didn't I? Or something like that. But let me look.
But yeah, because it was
I'll find
touching.
it.
Because it harkened back to their relationship.
Hold on 1 second. And then here. It was my fault that John died. Why? Because you couldn't kill an old man? You knew, but you didn't say anything. I said, I do. I figured that was enough.
Yeah, that was a great line because I took it as, not that I forgive you, but the type of man that you were, I was able to marry him, The I do was the marriage, I thought, the connection, the ability to accept him as her husband at the time. So I thought that was a good line.
I thought it was a very good line. I thought that was probably the best lines in the episode was this exchange here, because the whole episode, you see this guy and there's this big secret that he was responsible. And when she says that, and she says to him, like, she understands that this is a war, and she also understands that him not wanting to kill an old man doesn't make him a bad person.
Mhm.
So I just thought to myself that, I really like how that was resolved. I thought that was it was kind of, there were a lot of layers to it, and I liked it. And actually it was kind of like a touching moment, I dare say, giving that old school Quantum Leap feeling where you really feel that you're now connecting to these characters and there's something that happens to them that their story interests you. And I feel like this, on a great day, this show could do that. And unfortunately, in this season, there haven't been many great days like that. But this is one of them. This actually worked.
Yeah.
And then they still have to get the kid, right? And then I guess it's a small location, so then that guy Roy has to go in or something. I don't know what, right?
Yeah, I guess he's smaller than everybody else.
They mention it the whole time, like he's smaller than he can do the thing. So yeah, he goes in, and then he brings the boy out. You also said that the car moved, right?
Yeah, the car is no longer stuck on the overbank there, and they're like trying to figure out like what happened, and he's like, "Well, never mind that. Just put him in the back and take him to a hospital."
Right. And then the final thing is that you see a Bigfoot walking around.
Right.
And then just as they see it, he leaps.
Yeah. Go back for a second because I want to see because I don't remember the Bigfoot face or how they presented the Bigfoot. You can try to see if you can play it and just stop it right when they turn, right when he turns.
Does he even turn?
Yeah. Yeah. It's a wampa. They should have made it. You know how they had celebrities every so often?
It should have been Dr. Ruth Westheimer.
Yeah, no, but
in the woods.
In the woods. They should have recreated, that very famous Bigfoot scene where he's walking in the forest and then he turns around. They should have recreated that.
I guess. And now and now he's like in the, seemingly in like the Civil War or whatever it is. And
I'm assuming it's a recreation because he can't go that far back, right?
Well, you're gonna have to see. It may not be a recreation.
Huh. All right.
It's a strange episode for sure. It's another one that I think I've seen once. Maybe I've seen it twice. Probably most of the episode I've seen at least twice. But I'm saying like once I saw it as a kid.
Video.
Yeah, once I saw it as a kid, and probably years later I saw it once again.
Yeah.
Anyhow, there will be some strange things about that one. We'll get to it when I won't say when we get to it. It'll be already next week.
Sure. Yeah.
And
that's one of my favorite cryptid old videos, that Patterson Bigfoot video, along with the Loch Ness Monster.
the dead man says, I feel like because they were all friends, maybe they all talked about the situation at some point. That is true. I mean, any one of these people could have told the wife what happened, so it's not.
Somebody else. I mean, I don't find it a stretch that somebody somewhere knew and told the wife. I don't know.
That's true. I mean, the truth is that this one of these guys could have had a conversation with a wife. It's not impossible.
Yeah.
And
yeah, people in the chat are having a little conversation for who knew what.
I think one of those people probably told her.
Yeah.
In any case, yeah. So I guess we got through that episode. Somehow we did it, Ro.
Yeah, with little to no resistance.
Well, it was pretty straightforward. It wasn't anything. They didn't reinvent the wheel here. It was a very simple and straightforward episode. But you know what? During this season, so many times it feels like either they tried something that was like too out there and didn't work for them, or not well thought out. The fact that this one is almost just like a comfort food, regular, I dare say, run of the mill classic type of episode is good.
Yeah, I agree.
I wouldn't have minded if most of the season was just like comfort food episodes. But
Sure.
I feel like the network really pushed them and said, hey, we don't want any more of this. You need to do something completely different. And you could feel the tension, I think, behind the scenes. You could feel all of this throughout this season. And it has some good moments. This is one of the better moments. This is actually a decently put together episode.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, you described it perfectly. Comfort food. It was kind of back to basics, a nice little story, easy to follow, some twists at the end, which, a lot of people was a little divisive, but I think I enjoyed it. I liked it.
Yeah, I think that overall it's cool, and I don't have any issue with it. And I thought that it touched upon. I like the fact that there's something happening in present day, but there's also something that happened back in the day,
Sure.
and even the flashback. The fact that this is an unresolved matter, and how they all are in the present, and even that whole situation with the wife. It was a well thought out episode. It's funny that it's the guy that played Frank that suddenly wrote a decent episode. Maybe he was a fan of the show. Maybe as a guy that was on the show, he read enough of these screenplays and saw it and just brought that kind of more classic vibe to it.
For sure.
I almost regret that they didn't give him more episodes this season. I think
right.
Yeah, I mean, this is the kind of stuff I wanted to see. And I know that at least some of these episodes the studio pushed, like with Dr. Ruth and with Oswald, and the one that's with Marilyn Monroe, which the Marilyn Monroe out of those celebrities was a little more tolerable because at least he leaped into somebody that's next to her. But the dude trust me bro situation at the end still gets to me.
Yeah, I missed that one.
But Al, I didn't do anything. Yes, you did, Sam. She did the movie because of you. I did? Yeah, trust me, bro. And then he leaps.
Tex Rogers doesn't like the fact that they implied Bigfoot was real.
Other than that, he likes it, though. Listen, the thing is that I feel like this show, many times, it touches upon little things like that it's sort of like maybe there's something a little mystical, maybe whatever. These are little teases that they do.
Yeah.
Like UFOs and things like that. I don't know. They do stuff like that. That kind of stuff doesn't necessarily bother me
Sure.
because you know what? It gives you a little bit of a tease, but it
Mhm.
leaves you alone. Better than that vampire episode, the vampire one.
Yeah,
Do you agree that that vampire one wasn't very good?
totally. Yeah. It had a
Yeah.
lot of character motivation plot hole type things.
Yeah, Murrockstro, wait, what? Bigfoot is real. Bigfoot is as real as the Loch Ness monster. You know, we don't know. Maybe there was one, some like big, ape in the forest, and he kind of looked like Bigfoot.
Hey, they found a coelacanth in the late 80s and they thought that fish was extinct.
Yeah, no, I mean, sometimes interesting things happen.
Sure.
You never know.
You never know. A plesiosaurus could be roaming around.
The Dead Man says X-Files was also starting around that time. Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
X-Files, the first few seasons were a cultural phenomenon.
Yeah.
It's kind of unfortunate that show really outstayed its welcome. And really over the seasons when David Duchovny didn't feel like coming in, and then Gillian Anderson didn't feel like coming in, and you had all these people, I didn't even know who I was looking at and what they were doing. And also, I think a good show should have some different storylines and threads, but those threads and storylines need to be tied up at some point. I
Sure.
feel like some things about X-File haven't been solved until this day. Like each time they try to revive it, and they're like, this time we're going to solve it, and they still leave you hanging with no answers to anything. Even a number of years ago, they brought it back, and that same cigarette smoking man or whatever his name is was still
Right.
around,
Still
doing
around.
whatever it is that he does,
Just smoking.
just smoking his cigarettes and acting like a douche.
Yeah.
I feel like they've really they've outstayed their welcome with that. I don't know if there's anything more they can do.
Well, it's coming back supposedly.
Again.
Yep.
But and then Ron Donofero says, true. Also, almost all the X-Files had pretty much the same plot line. I still enjoyed them. It was cool. The first few seasons were cool. The one thing I have to say that I'm really thankful for when it comes to the X-Files is that thanks to the X-Files overstaying its welcome, we got Breaking Bad. And not only that we got Breaking Bad, we got a Breaking Bad that didn't outstay its welcome. Because in the final seasons of the X-Files, they brought Vince Gilligan, who was part of that crew, became the showrunner. And he, in interviews, said that some of his best work that he did ever is probably on that show. But because the show had outstayed its welcome, by the time he arrived, was already in charge, even if he had good ideas, nobody cared about them because nobody was watching them. And it kind of stayed with him that a show doesn't need to outstay its welcome, which is why when Breaking Bad, when he felt that, there was a certain amount of time he needs to wrap up this story, even though networks and people came and they said, we'll give you all the millions in the world, we'll give you whatever you want, just please make more. And he said, no, I have to finish this story.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe perhaps without the X-Files outstaying its welcome, he wouldn't have learned that lesson.
Sure, yeah.
So sometimes one thing that doesn't do, that's kind of fails, is another person's success, or I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
And by the way, thanks to the X-Files, we even have Breaking Bad with, Bryan Cranston playing Walter White, because there was an episode that Vince Gilligan wrote. I don't know if he wrote and directed or he just wrote it. Maybe he wrote and directed. In any case, they were missing an actor and they needed somebody very specific that's sort of a bad guy, but that could also seem sympathetic. And they auditioned 50 gazillion people and they couldn't find it. And then Vince Gilligan saw Bryan Cranston. He's like, he's going to be great for this. And then that was before Bryan Cranston was even on Malcolm in the Middle. So once they did that whole thing, he looked at it and he's like, man, this guy one day I'm going to work with that guy again. And so a lot of good things happened from X-Files. X-Files, it was a breeding ground for people that creative people, for good producers, good writers.
Yeah.
So there is some positives here.
For sure.
Anyhow, I don't know how I got to all of this. Why am I speaking about the X-Files? I don't know.
I think somebody mentioned it. You know how the chat is.
Yeah, no, we sometimes we go over different things and say different things. Bro, is there anything that we missed here?
No, not at all. It was like you said, it was a tight ship. This episode was pretty easily digestible.
Yeah, it was straight to the point. They didn't try to do anything fancy, and I mean that in the best possible way. It's like, here you go. The characters are here, the stories are here. It's all working. The show is still doing its science fiction thing. It's staying true to everything, and it's working in a good way. Some people can like or not like that little Bigfoot tease at the end, but for me, it's not a big deal, and it doesn't put a damper on the episode. Whether that annoys you or not, I don't think it puts a damper on the episode.
Agree. I liked it.
Well, the Vietnam vet storyline was well written. Yeah, it had a little bit of thoughtfulness to it, something that we didn't see for a while now. I mean, I'm thinking of that like Bigot episode, not Bigot. What's the one where he has Bigamist? Yeah, sorry,
Mm.
I didn't mean Bigot. Bigot is me. Bigamist is him. I'm just kidding. That's what people usually call me online, so I just I'm going with the flow. In any case, Marla Sharondoff liked this episode. Born on the 4th of July. That's a movie with Tom Cruise. Don't really know how we talked about it. But yeah, I was never completely a big fan of the X-Files. Super Mario Brothers, I did enjoy a couple of episodes. Lost track once Robert Patrick came on board. He came on late. He's a good actor, but by the time he came around, I'm like, oh, like who? What is he doing here?
Mm-hmm.
So unfortunately, it wasn't that good. But yeah, I think that we did pretty well. Emilio Badillo says Vietnam story, well done. And yeah, I think that. Is there anything you want to add? I mean,
No.
let me throw Rose. I want to throw the link to your. So okay.
Go follow us on Twitter. Interact with us. Let us know.
If you feel like if you're not following me on my main channel, then you should do that because today was a crazy day for me. Apparently, strange things happened, and
really,
some people. I guess I offended people, and some of them unfollowed me, so it kind of made me sad. But that happens sometimes. What can you do? You're never going to be able to please everybody, I guess.
Nope, and you shouldn't.
I guess it was a more like, I don't want to say controversial issue, but I guess it was, I understand, there's things happening today and everybody has a different feeling about it. It's like, I do my best to report on news as I see them. And sometimes that may bother people, but I can only do the best I can to try to give like a fair and balanced situation. So I'm going to put my main channel here. If you guys aren't, I feel like everybody here is already probably subscribed to my main one, but if you're not subscribed to my main channel, I just put it here in the chat. You should do it because I'm trying to recover, to bounce back from a very tough day that I've had there. Anyhow, with all due respect, you're biased, Price. I guess I am. I mean, I guess everybody is biased to an extent, maybe. But at the end of the day, I try my best that even when I talk about something, I'm not just like foaming at the mouth and just yelling at people. I consider myself something of a middle of the road guy, and it gives me a good kind of perspective to look around and just give my impression of something. But
like a centrist.
I do consider myself a centrist. You and I are both centrists, Ro.
I don't think so. You might want to rethink that one.
You don't consider me a centrist, Ro?
No, not at
Well,
all.
when it comes to Disney Star Wars, I'm the biggest centrist there is. It's fine, whatever. Ro is a centrist. Anyhow, I try my best. Again, whatever I'm talking about, maybe you agree with, maybe you don't. I do try to do something where I'm not like foaming at the mouth. Like I said, I try to at least be reasonable, but doesn't always help. In any case, I have to look now. Rockstar, did you happen to have a list of the people? I don't know if he has one, and if not, then I guess I'll do it then. Starred. Rockstar. Do you see anything, Ro?
No.
I am the biggest loser? Was he referring to me?
No, I'm sure he wasn't.
No, I think he was. As people go more woke leftist, the center moves left. So a centrist 20 years ago looks conservative today. I will give you that, Tex, that I myself wasn't even so interested in politics. And, I just had some opinions. And yeah, these days you're kind of pushed, even if you don't want to be there, it pushes you into all these different places. I didn't take it personally, the dead man. In any case, we're gonna have to do it old school. Okay, let's start. I haven't done this in a while. I've grown so spoiled where people were sending us the list of people, but
Yeah, right.
now it's gonna be the old-fashioned way. Julie Evans, Marla Sharondoff, Michelle Ferry, Tex Rogers, Matthew McGee, and Chrissy McGee. Matthew Marcillo. Let's see. Ron Donofero, I think I said. Tex Rogers, I'm sure I did. Amelia Bedelia. Michelle, I know I saw her already. Sacrif Scuttlebutt Podcast, which is you, Ro. And scrolling the best I can. Kit Kat. Julie Evans, I said that. She was like the first one. Backyard Tardis was already here. The Dead Man, I'm sure I said, but if not, I'm saying it now. I do enjoy looking at all these conversations. I love that there's so much interaction. And I'm also happy, there's so many people fighting about so many things now. It's nice that we take an hour like this and talk about Quantum Leap.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually very pleasant. Super Mario Brothers 3. I don't know if I said that yet or not. I know I said Amelia Bedelia. I believe I said Murakstra. If not, I'm saying it now. And did I miss anybody?
No, I was following along with you. Marla Sharondoff, you said?
Marla Sharondoff. She was one of the early people here.
Yeah.
Murakstra, I see him.
The Dead Man.
Yep. It is nice to see all these. The Dead Man gave a super sticker.
Oh.
It doesn't tell me what the super sticker is. Is it like a poop emoji?
Probably.
Did you get the two Matthews?
Matthew Marcillo.
Yes, I did. Matthew Marcillo and Matthew McGee and Chrissy. Yeah. 1 second. Let me see for a second if I can find this stream so I can see what the emoji was, because it's not telling me. And
oh yeah, it's a
poop emoji.
Yes.
All right. Well, that's good, and I'm happy that we were able to. It is okay. Well, that's good to know. Not to answer for price, but he did call us double M's. LOL. Thanks, buddy. Two Matthews. It's a poop emoji. Okay. Good that we were able to settle that. I guess just anything final you have to say, Rose? Something that we missed?
No, I mean, what episode was this in this season?
This is 19, so we have 20,
wow.
20, 21, and 22. There's 3 more episodes left.
That's crazy.
It is absolutely crazy.
Yeah. But I almost feel like it took a while for this season to get kind of back on track without, this whole season we've been talking about the season swinging for the fences and not really, hitting it where it should be. I feel like it took a while for this season to kind of get back to just a really decent story without chancing too much, without losing a lot of the integral parts of what people know Quantum Leap as. Just kind of like a really good, interesting science fiction, time travel type of character driven story. And I think this was it.
Yeah, I tend to agree. And yeah, I overall, like I said, this was a good episode. I'm glad that we still had a good episode. I'm trying to think how we'll feel about the next three. I think that there will be certainly some mixed feelings when it comes to these next three, but I don't want to say anything because these are episodes that I really want to rewatch. I haven't watched them in a long time, and I'd be curious as to what I think about them now. If I had to somehow give my suspicion, and I could be wrong, I think that the next episode is interesting, but there's something, an angle about it that's a bit strange, but we'll get to that when we see it. Then
Okay.
there's another episode which, it's not necessarily a terrible episode, but it's another one of those cases where they try to involve celebrities, and I think I don't know how to feel about it. And then we have the final episode, which again, that also kind of leaves you with a bit of a mixed feeling vibe.
Yeah, I can't wait. I'm again, as somebody who's never seen the show at all when it was out in the 90s, whatever, it's going to be kind of interesting to see how they end it.
Yeah, I agree. It's going to be interesting, and for me as well, because I haven't watched it in a long time, and even all those years that I from time to time would watch, I never did something like we've done here. We've been sitting the past 2 years. I don't know if there's anybody that so clinically has analyzed this show the way we have. Now,
Mhm.
I know that there's other podcasts around there and people that have done stuff, but I will say that the kind of analysis that we do and the way we look at and what we've been doing, I feel that it's unique. I'm not taking away from other people and what they've done. Maybe whatever they did was fantastic, but I think that whatever we do, I really like. And it was just so great how we did this in such a clinical way and thorough. I feel like right now, if you need an expert in Quantum Leap, Ro, you may not have seen it as a kid, but you can fall into that category at this point. I mean,
Yeah,
if there was like a panel of Quantum Leap experts, you can easily sit there. You know what I mean? Like at
true.
this point, I don't think that there's many other people that could be on that panel. We would be like on a short list for being
Mhm.
chosen for something like this.
Yeah, totally.
And on that very, are we tooting our own horn? Yes, I am tooting my own horn. Sometimes it's nice to do that because the thing is, nobody toots my horn, so it's nice that I do it sometimes because somebody's got to toot it. That all sounded very strange, Ro, and on that very on that very positive note, I think I'm going to find our outro and we're going to say our goodbyes.
Thank you, chat. You guys are awesome as usual. Good to see you all.
See you all. We'll see you here next week. Bye.
Toot toot.
I'm such an